Welcome back to the next video. This video has just got a lot of various information that we're going to share with you just to cover up this stuff. I understand that you're probably tired of watching the videos. Listen, for those of you that are newbies, that are coming with us the first time, it's a great opportunity for us to be able to just express some of these things that we need to share and the liability aspect. Sometimes it feels like the video, why do we need to do this training, why do we need to do this? Listen, it's a liability issue. When you're coming on camp, parents are trusting us, they're trusting me as the director to make sure that I've gotten a quality staff, that everybody's on the same page as we walk through this. And this is why I feel it's important that you do the videos and you watch them, you take the little quizzes at the end, and then at the end you bring that little certificate with you to registration or check-in on Sunday, July 14th. So I want to just reiterate, I appreciate your time, I appreciate you taking this time to do it. This is really an important process. It's not everybody's fun time, believe me. These aren't high quality at any degree, but it's just really about me getting the information out and getting that training done that we need to have done. And so let me just once again say thank you for getting out of the box or taking the time really to sit down and watch these videos and go through this training. A couple things that I want to cover here. First off is our discipline policy. In our discipline policy, the number one rule is we never lay a hand on a child. There is never a reason that you should grab an ear, spank, grab a hold of, or anything along that side with those kids, with your campers, because that just crosses the line. If some child is acting up, many times the first initial thing you need to do is just take a moment and re-instruct. Maybe re-instruct your whole group. If boys are having problems with their hands, a lot of times it happens. They're hanging on each other, they're hitting each other, they're doing a lot of things like that. Re-instruct or reinstate the rules saying our hands are going to be to ourselves. If we have a problem with this, we'll have a discussion with Gary or Pastor Gary or Miss Susan, the Dean of Boys and Dean of Girls, and if we have to, we'll pull them out of activities. We'll have them move rocks. We'll have to do something like that to bring about the discipline. Ultimately, the goal is not to have that camper go home, but to be able to curtail that activities that are taking place. So through the discipline process, make sure you know the rules. Don't make idle threats that you can't keep. Well, if you do that, I'm not going to let you do this. No. Just, if you're having issues with a student, let Pastor Gary and Miss Susan know, and they'll help walk that process through with you. We are not afraid to deal with this, because ultimately you're going to have some kids that are going to be like that. They're going to press the envelope. They're going to do it. They have no rules at home, and you're going to be instituting some rules. And they're not your rules. You may not agree with all of them, but that's all right. That's the rules that we have, for whether Heartland has given us or whether we have set as a team to say these are the rules for camp. So disciplinary problems a lot of times happen, but a lot of times they just kind of get curtailed there. And if you don't hear from your boys, your youth, or your kids at any time, your campers at different times, make sure you know where they are. Make sure you know what's going on. Don't ride their backs, nitpick about everything. Choose the battles you're gonna go after. Make sure the tables are clean in the kitchen. Make sure they're picking up after themselves as they go along the path. Make sure they get all their stuff with them when they're doing things. Don't get them out there running. Don't get them out there doing it. If you have any issues, make sure you stop and talk to Pastor Gary or Susan. Another policy I want to talk about is our cell phone policy. I understand that we live in a digital age. We understand that. I don't want you taking your cell phone around the camp with you. Maybe there's an issue. I know a couple moms that have talked to us, or business, whatever, people have talked to us. The focus of this week is for you to be with your camper and investing in them. And when they see you on the phone, number one, that says, well, you're not as important to them, or they're not as important to you as that call, or they also start to feel homesick. And the other side of this, the cell phone, we want them to stay in the car. There's no reason for them to be out. They can stay in the car. The campers aren't allowed from having. If you see any campers with cell phones, you need to let us know, because we're going to confiscate those until they come back. Oh, I need my iPad for games, or my this or that for games and all this kind of stuff. No, this is a no electronic camp. The goal is to unplug these kids, to allow them to have encounters with Christ. And on your side, well, I need a cell phone to wake me up. Well, let's bring an alarm clock. Let's do something along that line to make sure that you have what you need to get up to stay on target. If your cell phone is out, it's stolen, it's lost, it gets wet or damaged, I'm sorry, that's your own responsibility. We've asked you not to bring it. I understand that at times you want to make a phone call or touch base. That may be where you're working like with your other leaders in the pod. Say, hey, I'm going to go make a phone call real quick. You pop out to the car or you pop behind one of the dorms and do that. Just make that a quick call, and then you get back in there with those kids just to touch base. And if there's a job situation or something like that, let myself or Pastor Gary or Susan know what's going on, and we can follow up with that from that degree. Camp Bank. One of the questions we have is when with money. When you come to camp, we have a cashless system, meaning when campers check in on Monday, they're going to check their money into the bank, and at that point they're going to receive a little bank card. Those bank cards are $5. So if a child only has $4, the first dollar will be clicked off there, or marked off, and then they'll have the rest available for their spending and such while they're there. We do this so we can, those are good as cash, those are cash, but we have their names and their room numbers on there. Some leaders will take and put them inside their little neck thing that we bring along with your name tags. That's an option for you. That's liability, whatever you want to take from there. But make sure your campers are watching that. Everywhere we go on campus, everything is always cashless society. So we want to make sure that all cash is turned in. For you, make sure, same thing for you. Put money in the bank or keep it in your car or whatever. Don't keep it in your room, because if campers find it and it's gone, I'm sorry. We'll try to track that down, but there should be no reason why campers are running around with money. You can get it all back at the end of the week, from that degree. So it is a cashless society, which helps out, keeps us from there. The staff and homesickness. Active campers, if you think about this, active campers are less likely to be homesick. Don't be talking a lot about mom and dad, or if they bring it up, maybe that'll be it, issues and things like that. But sometimes for some of these campers, it's going to be the first time that they're getting away from home, the first time that mom and dad are letting them go. And they may get a little homesick or lonely at times, but keep them busy, keep them directed. Now listen, if your campers ever feel like they can't get over that, they can't shake it, take the opportunity. We have camp grandmas and camp grandpas. Use your camp grandma and grandpa to get those kids. They'll pull them aside. You just let one of them know. Just, hey, when you're walking through or whatever, or one of the leaders, let us know, and we'll get camp grandma or grandpa on top of that. They'll write letters home. They'll do all kinds of stuff. They are pros at this. They know how to just love those kids and move on. I can tell you we've only had a couple kids go home in all the time we've been doing camp for homesickness, because we're able to turn that around. From there, at no point should you allow a camper to call home. The only people that are allowed to make that call home is myself, the nurse, or even Pastor Gary and Susan. And the nurse and them don't even make the call unless I know. We do not want campers calling home. Don't take pictures and post them on Facebook. Don't do all that stuff. We're trying to eliminate all that, because that just drives some of the things with the campers on their homesickness level. So they can get mail. I encourage you to send mail to your campers. I encourage you to do that, to encourage parents to do that as well. Parents will be checking in on Facebook, so they'll know all the stuff that's going on. Like I said, we got camp grandmas and camp grandpas from here. Another thing, every night we have, in the morning we have a chapel in the individual dorms, and then at night we have the services. I need leaders to not all just stay in the same spot. Spread yourself out, be involved in those campers. They're going to get tired. Some may sleep through some of the services. That's all right. We understand that, but we're speaking to their spirit, and that's going to come back, those things that we're speaking to their spirit man about. And so we want you not to be all in the ends. Stagger yourself in and out of the aisles and the rows, so that you're able to kind of help with that, help your other fellow room leaders to keep control of the campers and to stay involved. If they're goofing around, we need to deal with that right away, and to keep those kids focused. We don't want distractions in the service. It's going to be high-paced, high energy, lots of stuff going on, so that way we'll get ready to go. So please be involved in those campers' life. Be ready for prayer time. Be ready for all these things. A nurse. If you're in starter camp, we have a camp nurse out there. If you're in regular kids camp, we have 2 nurses that'll be with us this year. And all medicines, even for yours, no Tylenol, none of that stuff needs to be in your care. It all needs to be checked in with a nurse. You have access to it 24 hours a day. I'm not worried about that. But what if you decide to keep it by you? It's a liability, because if those campers get a hold of some of that stuff, we don't want any of them having the problems with taking any of your meds, not knowing. And so we want to make sure that all medication is turned in. From your side, also from the camper side, after they get checked on, unpacked in their rooms, make sure that their meds are there and that they're going with them. Through this process as well, we want to encourage you to just to be working with those campers. We're going to give you a list of your campers that are going to be taking meds and when they're going to take it. And so would you help us out with getting those campers to, maybe in the morning when they get up, or maybe it's when they go to bed, or lunchtime, or meals, or whatever. The nurses know that. The more you can help us make sure that your campers are getting their meds, the less we have to call on the radio to try to get everybody, things like that. So help us out with the nurses. One thing we're doing this year is, we do every year, is BGMC, Boys and Girls Missionaries, campaign. And we're going to go for this here, and we're going to raise a bunch of money. This video this is a secret element of this video at this point. Please do not tell Pastor Jeremy or Jenna Lee Goodwin or any of them about what I'm about to tell you about. Our goal is to raise, I believe it's over $4,000 this year for the Goodwins. We're pushing for even over $5,000 for the Goodwins. What we are doing is, in the mail prior to camp, all the campers are going to receive a bag of sorts and a letter saying, bring an offering with you to camp. And we're challenging all of our campers. If we're over 350 campers, it's like about $12 to $14 per camp. We're challenging our campers to bring that amount of money to help send Jeremy and Jenna Lee Goodwin on the field. Now, Jeremy and Jenna Lee have been pastors in our district, or our network, and they have participated in camp. They spoke before and all these things, and we want to propel them into missions. And this is what we're doing. I want to ask you that you'll take an opportunity to make a desire to bring your own offering. I'd love on Sunday night when we come together for you to have an offering. I want to challenge you for an offering of at least $20. Can you do that? If you help do that, if all of us camp staff brought a minimum of a $20 offering to them, that would give us, if we're going to set our goal as 4, that's over half of our funds and the goals are already met. If our goal, we're going to push around 4 to 5 right in there, and if that's where it lands, then we're going to have we'll have almost still half of what is needed. And I want to challenge you in that aspect. Also, from not only a cash offering, what will take place on Sunday night, that we're going to do as a hush-hush type thing. Don't talk about it. Don't tell anybody about it. We're going to give them that. They know that it's there already, but we're setting our own goals to get it up there. The other side of this is we want to be able to challenge, I want to challenge you personally. And maybe if you're a children's pastor or a leader, pastor, that maybe you haven't committed to giving to supporting Jeremy and Jenna Lee yet to get on the field. They have over a $9,000 budget that they have to raise to be able to get on the field, to get all 3 of their kids to get out overseas. And our goal is at camp, to have people come in and some of our leaders come in and say, you know what, I'm willing to give up 1 coffee a month. What is that? That's $5 a month towards a gift. I'm willing to give up a meal a month, which maybe is $20 or $10 a month or whatever. Our goal is to try to get $250 in new pledges, monthly pledges, to support them. Maybe your ministry already supports them, but you'll say, you know what, I'll give an extra $5, or I'll give an extra $10, or I'm going to do whatever. Would you consider that at kids camp that you would give them a monthly pledge? Our goal is to get them ready to get sent on the field, and we just want to bless them. They're one of our own, and we want to send them with a blessing. And so we're asking our campers to give, we're asking you to give, and just to go above and beyond. And I just want to thank you in advance for your giving and the challenge. And some of you've never been here to the camp, and you're like, what are we talking about? Listen, the kids go wild. Last year, they raised a boatload of money. I think it was $3,000 that they raised for BGMC. It's crazy the amount of money these kids come to camp and the pledges and all that. But this is missions. We're investing. We're investing in these kids young to invest in missions and find out the need for it. Let's pray and believe God to help us send Jeremy and Jenna Lee on the field in a royal way, getting ready to go to Senegal, Africa. So thank you in advance for your giving to them. And this has just been a little bit of a couple of variety things I wanted to cover in this video. And I've got one more video for you, and then that should be it. So thank you for listening in this one.